Greetings IB artists, I'm Miss A, and it's still a rainy day and I'm just kind of thinking about what else to do in order to help you do really well with your secondary art education. Okay, today I thought we could discuss this would be a good idea because you have two very different paths here. Obviously, I'm an art teacher. I will only focus on art. However, you must understand that the implications are much bigger than just your art subject. So what is important to know about taking A-level art versus taking IB art? I have taught A-level art for various boards. I've taught it, with Edexcel. I've also done Cambridge A-level. These are different boards, but I believe there's like Aqua, there's other ones. So the curriculum that I'm going to look at today is the one that is published by Edexcel, and actually anyone can access the kind of the guide to the AS and A-level art exams. I'll include the website in the blurb underneath the video. The main difference with A-level art is that, first of all, that system of education is a lot more specialized. So A-level art is, again, a course that takes 2 years. You can do just the first year, which is the AS level, and then the second year is the A level. But generally speaking, at the end of 2 years, you get an A-level qualification. I think the minimum requirement is that you take I think it's 3 A-levels now. So again, that's something that you need to look into. You can start off with more subjects and then drop them once you've done a year, like at AS level. So for example, if you were studying 4 subjects, maths, English, 3D and graphics communication, you can do these two up to AS level, I'm assuming, and then the 2 A-levels that you do, you complete until the A-level qualification, so the 2-year course, right? So again, yeah, so you have to look into it. It's really important that you guys take responsibility for your own education, and people can help you only so much, but it's important to kind of have a long-term view for your own sake. With the art A-level, you have 5 different specifications that you can choose from. One is fine art, one is graphic communication, one is textile design, one is 3D design, and one is photography. So this is very different to the IB, where basically everybody does the same course. With A-level, you can actually choose to be very specialized, okay? So that's one of the main differences. A lot of people going to art school want to have fewer subjects that they're taking so that they can focus on their art portfolio, okay? So that's a big advantage of people taking A-level versus the IB art option, right? So you have much more time to be working on your art compared to IB students who are taking, I don't know, I think it's up to 6 or 7, who are doing basically many more subjects, and which are compulsory. So that's something that you need to think about. So if you are one of those people who is very confident that they will end up in art school and, generally speaking, then continue a career in the arts, A-level might be a really good option for you, right? So the A-level art is, generally speaking, the requirements are basically the same as IB art, more or less. It may be that there is a little bit more direction with the A-level art. And I say this because you have basically 2 components. One is the personal investigation. The components for the personal investigation is supporting study, which is basically research, practical work, you have to submit pieces, and the personal study, which is the 1000 words critical analysis of your work and what you've been doing over the 2 years, right? So that's basically the breakdown. The other component is externally set. So you actually get an exam sent to you from the Edexcel board, or whatever board you're doing, and I think it's published on the 1st of February. So on the 1st of February, no matter what you've been doing beforehand, you get the exam, you look at the exam, and you're given a few weeks, I believe, to prepare for your exam, and then you sit the exam for 15 hours. And those of you who have never done A-level or GCSE art, you're kind of going, what? Very, very doable. You do get breaks, and I think it's over 2 days. So it's, it's not a big deal. But that is basically where you are responding for 15 hours solely to the stimulus of the exam. So you're responding to the exam. And the exam is, very kind of helpful. It will give you a theme. It will kind of give indicators on how to explore it. You'll get like kind of sub-themes as well, or approaches. And you also get a list of artists. That's a really good thing with the A-level art. From my experience, the A-level curriculum, or the way it's taught anyway, really, really focuses on excellent skills. This is my experience. Of course, it includes critical analysis and looking at artists and study of artists and research and all that. However, there is a huge emphasis, like when you look at, and there's quite a few examples. If you follow me on Pinterest, I have one of my boards is to do with artist sketchbooks, and a lot of those are actually taken from A-level students. And they really their sketchbooks are very, very rich. They practice a lot. It's just slightly different to the IB. I've been teaching the IB for a long, long time. I think that when it was still set up in a way where examiners would come and look at the work that they were marking and talk to actual candidates about their work, I thought it was a really professional element of the IB art course, because it really kind of prepares you for critiques in arts and in art colleges, and talking to your professors and your peers about your work. So it was really kind of very professional, I thought, in its preparation for IB art students for once they get to college or university. That has changed now. So more or less the IB and the A-level art are basically doing very, very similar things. In terms of level, I think you will achieve the same kind of, the same kind of quality of work. Maybe not exactly the quantity of work, because like I said, with A-level, especially if you're just doing art A-levels, and again, you could do like sculpture A-level and a painting A-level, or a graphic communication A-level. So you could be doing actually 2 art A-levels at the same time, which gives you a lot of time for artwork. Whereas if you're doing IB, you have all your other subjects. Having said this, right, I'm probably leaning towards IB a little bit more, because I think it really kind of teaches you to be a much more holistic individual. Creativity is not just about art. Creativity is about putting things together that are possibly presented to you separately, but because you are a creative individual, you can get inspired by something you did, I don't know, in geography, or something you did in psychology, or something you did in maths, or so it just gives you like a broader field of knowledge to kind of get inspired by, to get ideas from. So I have to say that the students that were, you know, who did very, very well in IB Art in my classroom were usually students who did pretty well across the board in terms of like what the levels they attained for in their subject. Now, I don't know, you could possibly watch the film on Netflix, Creative Mind, because basically they are saying that creativity is putting things together that already exist in unexpected ways. So you may be looking at two things that are completely unrelated, but you find a creative way to put them together. That is something to think about, because I think IB gives you a very, very good education in terms of a holistic kind of knowledge to prepare you for the world. If you are someone who isn't very academic, then A-levels might be an option for you. You have to look into it. I personally I did A-levels. I'm not a very academic, well, I wasn't a very academic person in school. I've changed. Once I was out of school, I was a lot happier studying. But then, you know, I'm sure your education is much better than mine was 100 years ago. So things are improving. Another good idea would be to look at, you know, the possible universities you might have lined up. Check with them what kind of system they approve of. Generally speaking, you shouldn't have any problems with either qualification. The A-level tends to be focusing on the UK and UK related systems, but then I've been teaching in international schools for a while now, and we used both systems, the IB and A-level. So again, it's really important that you look into things before you decide which is better for you. But hopefully I've given you some pointers. I will also be discussing what to do once you get to art college. Very, very important advice, but that's for a later video. So if you're in a position to take IB Art or A-level Art, I hope this has helped you in some ways. If you follow me on Pinterest, I've arranged some boards for you that might be helpful resources. It is a work in progress, so I'm still kind of, you know, adding to each board, but basically it might be an interesting resource for you to kind of look at art and artists and sketchbooks. And there's a board which has films and videos related to art and artists. So again, these might be useful for you to check out. Again, you know how this works. If you like it, press that button, etc., etc. Share if you think this is useful for someone else. I'm Miss A. Thank you so much for watching. All the best.